First contact and rescue. The vast emptiness of space stretched out before the UES horizon, humanity's most advanced deep space exploration vessel. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her dark eyes scanning the star-studded void. It was 2157, and humanity had just begun to venture beyond their solar system, fueled by the discovery of faster-than-light travel. "Captain, we're picking up an anomalous signal," reported Lieutenant Raj Patel, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface of his console. "It's faint, but definitely artificial." Chen's eyebrows furrowed. "Origin. Approximately 2 light-years from our current position, ma'am. It doesn't match any known human frequencies." A ripple of excitement coursed through the bridge crew. Could this be it? First contact. "Plot a course, Lieutenant. Let's investigate," Chen ordered, her voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through her veins. As the horizon approached the source of the signal, a collective gasp echoed across the bridge. Floating in the inky blackness was a ship unlike anything they had ever seen. Its sleek, organic lines seemed to defy human engineering, and a faint, pulsating bioluminescence flickered across its hull. "Life signs?" Chen asked, her eyes never leaving the alien vessel. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the ship's xenobiologist, shook her head. "Inconclusive. The ship's hull is interfering with our scans. But, Captain, it appears to be badly damaged." Chen made a quick decision. "Prepare a boarding party. Dr. Tanaka, you're with me. Lieutenant Patel, you have the bridge." Within minutes, Chen led a small team across to the alien ship. The interior was a maze of twisting corridors that seemed to breathe and pulse with an otherworldly energy. Signs of a violent struggle were evident everywhere: scorch marks on walls, debris scattered across the floor, and dark stains that might have been blood. "What happened here?" whispered Ensign Mike O'Brien, his hand tightening on his weapon. As they ventured deeper into the ship, a faint sound caught Chen's attention. It was unlike anything she had ever heard, a cross between a whimper and a musical note. "This way," she urged, following the sound to a sealed chamber. With some effort, they managed to pry the door open. Inside, they found a scene of devastation. Bodies of alien creatures lay strewn about, their forms vaguely humanoid but with iridescent skin and multiple limbs. In the center of the room, a small pod pulsed with a soft, blue light. Dr. Tanaka approached it cautiously, her scanner whirring. "Captain, there's something alive in here." Chen joined her, wiping away the condensation on the pod's surface. What she saw inside made her heart skip a beat. Curled up in the fetal position was a tiny alien infant. Its skin shimmered with patterns of light, and 6 delicate limbs were wrapped protectively around its body. "It's hurt," Tanaka said, her voice filled with concern. "These readings, if we don't get it proper care soon, it might not survive." Chen faced a monumental decision. Their mission parameters were clear: observe and report, but do not interfere. Taking an alien life form aboard could have unforeseen consequences, but as she looked at the helpless infant, she knew she couldn't leave it to die. "We're taking it with us," she declared. "Tanaka, can you safely extract it from the pod?" The doctor nodded, her face a mix of excitement and apprehension. With painstaking care, they removed the infant from its life support and transferred it to a portable medical unit. As they made their way back to the horizon, Chen couldn't shake the feeling that they were crossing a threshold. Humanity's first alien encounter wasn't with advanced beings coming to greet them, but with an orphaned child in desperate need of help. Back on the horizon, the medical bay became a hive of activity. Dr. Tanaka and her team worked tirelessly to stabilize the alien infant, improvising treatments based on their scans and best guesses. "Its physiology is fascinating," Tanaka reported to Chen hours later. "It seems to be able to photosynthesize to some degree, and its bioluminescence appears to be a form of communication. But it's also clearly mammalian, or something similar." Chen nodded, watching the small creature floating in a specially designed incubator. Its lights pulsed weakly, but steadily. "Will it survive?" Tanaka's expression was cautiously optimistic. I believe so. It's responding well to our treatments. But Captain, what happens now? This is well beyond our mission parameters. Chen had been wrestling with that question since the moment they found the infant. We contact Earth, explain the situation. But I want to make one thing clear. This child is under our protection now. Whatever happens, we don't abandon it. As if in response to her words, the alien infant's lights pulsed brighter for a moment, and one of its limbs reached out, pressing against the incubator wall nearest to Chen. The journey back to Earth was tense. Every day brought new challenges as they struggled to understand and care for their alien passenger. The crew nicknamed it Nova for the way its skin would brighten when it was content. Nova grew quickly, displaying an intelligence that both awed and slightly unnerved the human crew. By the time they reached Earth orbit, it had already begun to mimic human sounds and showed a deep curiosity about its surroundings. The reception on Earth was mixed. Scientists were ecstatic at the opportunity to study an alien life form. Politicians saw both danger and opportunity. The public was divided between fear and fascination. As Chen stood before a panel of UN officials, military leaders, and scientific experts, she knew that her next words would shape the future of human-alien relations. Ladies and gentlemen, she began, her voice firm. We set out to explore the stars, to seek new life and new civilizations. We found not conquest or conflict, but a child in need. How we choose to proceed now will define us not just as a species, but as sentient beings in a vast and complex universe. She gestured to where Nova sat, watched over by Dr. Tanaka. The alien child's lights pulsed calmly, its large, multifaceted eyes taking in the assembly with evident curiosity. We have an opportunity here, Chen continued. An opportunity to show that humanity's greatest strength is not our technology or our military might, but our capacity for compassion. Nova is not a specimen to be studied or an asset to be exploited. It is a child, the sole survivor of its people, and it needs our help. The room erupted into heated debate. Some argued for caution, for quarantine and extensive study. Others saw the diplomatic potential of raising an alien ambassador. Through it all, Chen stood her ground, advocating for Nova's rights and well-being. In the end, a compromise was reached. Nova would be raised on Earth under the joint care of a specialized team of scientists, educators, and caregivers. Chen and key members of her crew would remain involved, ensuring continuity of care and serving as Nova's link to its cosmic origins. As Chen left the hearing, exhausted but relieved, she felt a small hand slip into hers. Looking down, she saw Nova walking beside her, its lights pulsing in a pattern she had come to recognize as contentment. Home, Nova asked, using one of the few human words it had mastered. Chen smiled, feeling the weight of the responsibility she had taken on, but also a profound sense of hope for the future. Yes, Nova, she replied softly. Let's go home. As they walked out into the sunlight of a new day on Earth, Chen couldn't help but wonder what the future held. They had saved a child from the stars, but in doing so, they had irrevocably changed the course of human history. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew that this small act of compassion would ripple across the cosmos in ways they could not yet imagine. The adventure was just beginning. Growing pains and bonding. 5 years had passed since Nova's arrival on Earth, and the world had changed in ways few could have predicted. The alien child had become a symbol of hope and unity for many, while remaining a source of controversy and fear for others. Dr. Yuki Tanaka stood in the observation room, watching Nova interact with a group of human children. At first glance, the scene could have been from any playground on Earth, but the shimmering, six-limbed form of Nova set it apart as something extraordinary. It's remarkable how quickly Nova has adapted, Captain Sarah Chen said, joining Tanaka at the window. Though no longer in active service, Chen had remained a constant presence in Nova's life, becoming something of a surrogate parent to the alien child. Tanaka nodded, her eyes never leaving the group. Physiologically, Nova has matured at about twice the rate of a human child. Cognitively, well, that's harder to quantify. In some areas, Nova is far beyond human norms. In others, particularly social and emotional development, there's still a lot to learn. As if on cue, a commotion erupted in the playroom. One of the human children had taken a toy from Nova, who responded by emitting a burst of intense light that momentarily blinded everyone in the room. Cries of surprise and distress filled the air. Chen and Tanaka rushed in, quickly taking control of the situation. As Tanaka checked on the other children, Chen knelt beside Nova, whose bioluminescent patterns were pulsing rapidly in distress. "Nova, we've talked about this," Chen said gently. "You can't use your lights like that. It can hurt people." Nova's multifaceted eyes shimmered with what Chen had come to recognize as tears. "I'm sorry," the alien child said, voice melodic and slightly otherworldly. "I forgot. I was angry." Chen sighed, pulling Nova into a hug. "I know it's hard. You're different, and sometimes that's going to be difficult. But you're also special, and we're going to figure this out together, okay?" Nova's lights calmed, settling into a soft, steady glow. "Okay, Sarah." As the incident was sorted out and apologies were made, Tanaka couldn't help but marvel at the bond between Chen and Nova. It was that connection, she believed, that had allowed Nova to progress so far in understanding human emotions and social norms. Later that evening, as Nova slept in its specially designed quarters, Chen and Tanaka met with the rest of Nova's care team to discuss the day's events. "We're making progress," Dr. Marcus Fleming, the team's psychologist, said. "But we need to be prepared for more challenges as Nova enters the equivalent of adolescence. The physical and emotional changes could be intense." Lieutenant Raj Patel, who had left the military to join Nova's security detail, spoke up. "There's also the matter of Nova's growing abilities. The bioluminescence is just the start. We've seen indications of limited telepathic capabilities, enhanced strength, and who knows what else might develop." Chen leaned back in her chair, feeling the weight of responsibility. "We always knew this wouldn't be easy, but we made a commitment, not just to care for Nova, but to help integrate it into our world. We can't lose sight of that." As the meeting continued, none of them noticed the small figure listening from the shadows of the hallway. Nova's lights dimmed to near invisibility. The next few years brought a whirlwind of changes. Nova's abilities continued to develop, often in unexpected ways. Its capacity for learning seemed almost limitless, devouring knowledge on every subject from quantum physics to ancient human mythology. But with these gifts came challenges. Nova struggled with isolation, keenly aware of its uniqueness. Despite the best efforts of Chen and the team, there were times when the alien child felt utterly alone in a world not made for it. It was during one of these low moments that Nova made a discovery that would change everything. Frustrated after a particularly difficult day of failed social interactions, Nova had retreated to the facility's roof, seeking solace in the night sky that reminded it of home. As Nova gazed at the stars, a strange sensation washed over it. Suddenly, it could feel everything. The pulse of life from the city below, the distant thoughts of sleeping humans, and something else, a vast cosmic awareness that stretched beyond Earth. Overwhelmed, Nova let out a cry that was part sound, part light, and part something indefinable. The burst of energy shattered windows for blocks around and sent electrical systems haywire. Chen was the first to reach the roof, finding Nova curled into a ball, lights flickering erratically. "Nova, what happened? Are you all right?" Nova looked up, its eyes wide with a mix of fear and wonder. "Sarah, I felt them. My people. They're out there, and they're coming." The implications of Nova's words sent shockwaves through not just the facility, but soon the entire world. The possibility of contact with Nova's species raised a host of questions and concerns. Would they be friendly? Were they coming to reclaim Nova? What would this mean for Earth? As governments and military leaders debated and prepared for various scenarios, Chen focused on helping Nova navigate this new development. The alien youth's powers continued to grow, as did its understanding of its own origins. "I remember more now," Nova told Chen one evening as they sat watching the sunset. "Not everything, but flashes. My people were called the Lumina. We're explorers, peacekeepers. The ship you found me on, it was attacked by another race, the Shroud. They fear us, hate us for our abilities." Chen listened intently, her mind racing with the implications. "Do you think the Shroud might follow the Lumina here?" Nova's lights dimmed slightly. "It's possible. I think that's why I was hidden. To protect me, and to warn others." The weight of this revelation hung heavy in the air. Earth, still new to the galactic stage, could soon find itself caught between two advanced alien races. As if sensing Chen's concern, Nova reached out, taking her hand. The alien's skin was warm, its bioluminescence pulsing in a pattern that Chen had come to associate with affection. "Don't worry, Sarah. No matter what happens, I'll protect you. All of you. Earth is my home now, and I won't let anyone harm it." Chen smiled, squeezing Nova's hand gently. "We'll protect each other, Nova. That's what family does." As they sat there, human and alien united by bonds stronger than blood, neither could have imagined the trials that lay ahead. The arrival of the Lumina would mark the beginning of a new era for humanity, thrusting them onto the galactic stage in ways they could never have prepared for. But for now, in this moment of quiet connection, none of that mattered. They had each other, and together, they would face whatever the universe had in store. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in vibrant hues. Nova's bioluminescence brightened in response, a beautiful harmony of natural and alien light. It was a poignant symbol of the future that awaited them. Challenging, unknown, but full of wonder and possibility. As the first stars began to appear in the darkening sky, Nova and Chen shared a look of determination. Whatever came next, they would face it together, a family forged across the stars, ready to become guardians of two worlds. The galactic stage. The years flew by, and humanity's reach extended further into the cosmos. Nova, now fully grown, had become Earth's unofficial ambassador to the stars. Its unique blend of Lumina abilities and human perspective made it an invaluable asset as humanity took its first tentative steps onto the galactic stage. Sarah Chen, her hair now streaked with gray, stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon Aya, Earth's most advanced diplomatic vessel. Beside her, Nova's form shimmered with anticipation, its 6 limbs moving in a graceful dance that betrayed its excitement. "Are you ready for this?" Chen asked, a hint of maternal concern in her voice. Nova's multifaceted eyes turned to her, its bioluminescent patterns pulsing with determination. "I've been ready for this my whole life, Sarah. It's time for Earth to take its place among the stars." As if on cue, a shimmering portal opened in space before them. The Lumina had arrived. The next few hours were a whirlwind of introductions and explanations. The Lumina, it turned out, were everything Nova had remembered and more. Their ship was a living marvel of organic technology, and their delegates radiated an aura of wisdom and peace that put the human crew at ease. Ambassador Zara, the Lumina leader, approached Nova with an expression of wonder. "You have grown so much, little one. We feared you lost to us forever." Nova's lights flickered with emotion. "I found a new home and a new family, but I never forgot where I came from." Chen stepped forward, her diplomat's training kicking in. "On behalf of Earth, we welcome you. We have much to discuss." And discuss they did. The Lumina shared tales of a vast galactic community, of alliances and conflicts that spanned millennia. They spoke of the Shroud, a race consumed by fear and hatred of those different from themselves, and they warned of a growing darkness that threatened to engulf the galaxy. As the talks progressed, it became clear that Earth's isolation was at an end. Whether they were ready or not, Humanity was about to be thrust onto a stage larger than they had ever imagined. Months passed, and Earth buzzed with activity. The revelation of the wider galactic community had sparked a renaissance in human innovation and cooperation. With the Lumina's guidance, advances in technology, medicine, and space travel progressed at an unprecedented rate. Nova found itself at the center of it all, bridging the gap between human and alien. Its unique perspective proved invaluable in translating complex alien concepts into terms humans could understand and apply. But not all was smooth sailing. As Earth's presence in galactic affairs grew, so did the attention it attracted, not all of it friendly. The first sign of trouble came during a diplomatic mission to a neutral space station. Nova, Chen, and a team of human diplomats were meeting with representatives from various alien races when alarms blared to life. "We're under attack," the station's AI announced. "Unknown vessels have breached our defenses." Chaos erupted as diplomats and civilians alike scrambled for safety. Chen's military training kicked in as she coordinated with station security to organize an evacuation. Nova, its bioluminescence flaring with intensity, used its powers to create protective barriers around groups of refugees. As they fought their way to the docking bay, a group of shadowy figures blocked their path. Their forms seemed to shift and waver, as if they weren't fully present in this reality. "The Shroud," Nova whispered, its voice tight with fear and anger. The lead Shroud figure stepped forward, its voice a harsh whisper. "The abomination lives. Our work is incomplete." Before anyone could react, the Shroud attacked. Their weapons fired beams of dark energy that seemed to drain the life from anything they touched. Nova threw up a shield of pure light, barely deflecting the assault. "Run," Nova shouted to Chen and the others. "I'll hold them off." Chen hesitated, unwilling to leave Nova behind. "We're not leaving you." Nova's eyes met Chen's, conveying a lifetime of love and gratitude in a single glance. "Trust me, I'll follow." With a heavy heart, Chen led the others to safety, looking back to see Nova engaged in a dazzling display of light and energy against the Shroud attackers. As the last of the evacuees boarded the escape shuttles, the station shuddered under another barrage. Chen stood at the airlock, refusing to leave without Nova. Just as hope began to fade, a brilliant flash of light filled the corridor, and Nova stumbled through, battered but alive. "Go. Now." Nova gasped, collapsing into Chen's arms. The shuttles launched just as the station's defenses failed. As they sped away, Chen cradled Nova's weakened form, her mind reeling from the implications of what had just happened. The galaxy, it seemed, was a far more dangerous place than they had realized. In the aftermath of the attack, Earth's leaders gathered to assess the situation. The Shroud's aggression had made it clear that humanity could no longer afford to be passive observers in galactic affairs. Nova, recovered but shaken, addressed the emergency session of the United Earth Council. "The Shroud fear what they don't understand, and they see Earth's alliance with the Lumina as a threat. But we can't let fear dictate our actions. We must stand firm, not just for ourselves, but for all those in the galaxy who seek peace." Chen, now serving as Earth's chief diplomatic officer, stood in support. "Nova's right. We didn't come this far to hide in the shadows. Earth has a role to play in shaping the future of this galaxy, and we must be ready to face whatever challenges that brings." The decision was made. Earth would take a more active role in galactic politics, strengthening its alliances and preparing its defenses. Nova would serve as the spearhead of this initiative, a living bridge between worlds. As the council session ended, Chen found Nova staring out at the stars, its bioluminescence subdued. "Are you okay?" she asked softly. Nova turned, its eyes filled with a mix of determination and sadness. "I always knew this day would come, but I never imagined it would be like this. The Shroud, they're driven by such hatred. How can we hope to overcome that?" Chen placed a comforting hand on Nova's shoulder. "The same way we've overcome every other challenge, together. You've shown us that differences can be a source of strength, not fear. That's a lesson the whole galaxy needs to learn. Nova's lights brightened slightly. You're right. We can't give up. There's too much at stake. As they stood there, human and alien united in purpose, neither could have predicted the trials that lay ahead. The galaxy was entering a new age, one that would test the limits of diplomacy, courage, and the bonds of family forged across the stars. The Shroud's attack had been just the beginning. As Earth and its allies prepared for whatever came next, one thing was certain: the Guardians of the Stars would stand ready, a beacon of hope in a universe teetering on the brink of chaos. Nova's gaze returned to the star-filled sky, its bioluminescence pulsing with renewed determination. Whatever comes, it said softly, we'll face it together. Chen nodded, her eyes reflecting the same resolve. Together, she agreed. For Earth, for the Lumina, and for a future where all beings can live without fear. As night fell on Earth, lights began to flicker on in cities around the globe. From space, it might have looked as if the planet itself was coming alive with bioluminescence, a fitting symbol for humanity's new role in the cosmic dance. The stage was set. The next act in this grand galactic drama was about to begin, and Earth, with Nova as its guiding light, was ready to play its part. Betrayal and sacrifice. The years that followed Earth's dramatic entry onto the galactic stage were marked by both triumphs and challenges. Humanity, guided by Nova, and its unique blend of Lumina wisdom and human ingenuity, had made great strides in establishing itself as a respected member of the interstellar community. But beneath the surface of diplomatic successes and technological advancements, a storm was brewing. The Shroud, though pushed back in their initial assault, had not been idle. Their shadow loomed ever larger on the galactic horizon, a creeping darkness that threatened to extinguish the light of cooperation and understanding that Earth and its allies had worked so hard to kindle. Sarah Chen, now the seasoned ambassador plenipotentiary for Earth, stood before the Galactic Council, her once dark hair now a distinguished silver. At her side, Nova's bioluminescence pulsed with a steady, reassuring glow. And so, Chen concluded her address, we propose a united front against the Shroud threat. Together, we can. Her words were cut short by a cacophony of alarms. The council chamber's holographic displays flickered to life, showing scenes of chaos erupting across the galaxy. Shroud ships, more numerous than anyone had anticipated, were launching simultaneous attacks on key worlds and installations. Nova's lights flared with shock and dismay. It's happening. They're making their move. As the council devolved into panic, a transmission cut through the chaos. A hooded figure materialized in the center of the chamber, its form rippling like smoke. Your time is at an end, the Shroud leader hissed. Darkness will reign, and all that is different will be extinguished. Before anyone could respond, the transmission cut off. In its wake, a horrifying realization dawned. The Shroud had infiltrated deeper than anyone had suspected. Trusted allies turned on one another, their forms shifting to reveal Shroud operatives in disguise. Nova sprang into action, its body becoming a living shield of light that protected Chen and the loyal council members. We need to get to the Horizon Aya, Nova shouted over the din of battle. We can coordinate a response from there. As they fought their way through the space station's corridors, Shen couldn't shake a gnawing suspicion. How had the Shroud managed to infiltrate so thoroughly? The pieces didn't add up. Once aboard the Horizon Aya, the full scope of the crisis became clear. Shroud forces were attacking human colonies, Lumina worlds, and every major power that had allied with them. It was a massive, coordinated strike aimed at reshaping the balance of power in the galaxy. As Chen and Nova worked tirelessly to organize a resistance, reports flooded in of betrayals and surprise attacks. The Shroud's ability to mimic other species had allowed them to place sleeper agents in key positions throughout the galaxy. We need to warn Earth, Chen said, her voice tight with worry. If the Shroud have infiltrated other worlds, they might have agents on our home planet too. Nova nodded grimly, its lights pulsing with determination. I'll send a message through the Lumina network. It's the only secure channel we have left. But as Nova interfaced with the ship's communications array, something unexpected happened. Its bioluminescence flickered erratically, and a look of horror spread across its features. "No," Nova whispered, stumbling back from the console. "It can't be." Chen rushed to Nova's side. "What is it? What's wrong?" Nova turned to Chen, its eyes filled with anguish. "The Lumina, they're not what we thought. They're working with the Shroud." The revelation hit Chen like a physical blow. "That's impossible. Why would they?" "Control," Nova cut in, its voice trembling. "The Lumina fear the chaos of free will. They see it as a threat to galactic stability. The Shroud are their instruments, designed to eliminate unpredictable elements, like humanity." As the implications sank in, Chen felt the ground shift beneath her feet. Everything they had believed, everything they had worked for, was built on a lie. "And you?" she asked, dreading the answer. "Were you part of this plan?" Nova's lights dimmed with sorrow. "No, I was an experiment. They wanted to see if they could guide a species development from infancy, but I became too human. I learned to value freedom, individuality. In their eyes, I'm as much of a threat as humanity." The weight of the truth settled heavily upon them. Earth and its allies had been maneuvered into position like pieces on a cosmic chessboard. The Lumina's guidance, their sharing of technology and knowledge, had all been calculated to shape humanity into what they deemed an acceptable galactic citizen. "We need to warn Earth," Chen said, her shock giving way to determination. "We have to prepare for an attack from both the Shroud and the Lumina." Nova nodded, its own resolve hardening. "But it won't be enough. We need a way to expose the truth to the entire galaxy. If we can reveal the Lumina's deception, we might be able to break their control over other races." As they formulated a desperate plan, a new transmission came through. It was from Earth, and the news was grim. Shroud forces had begun attacking major cities, aided by sleeper agents embedded in Earth's defense networks. Chen watched in horror as footage showed the devastation unfolding on her home planet. "We have to go back," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "Earth needs us." Nova placed a comforting hand on Chen's shoulder. "We will. But first, we need to make a stop. There's something on my homeworld, a device that can broadcast the truth across the entire galaxy. It's our only chance to end this before it's too late." With heavy hearts but steadfast determination, Chen and Nova set a course for the Lumina homeworld. They knew the odds were stacked against them. They would be flying into the heart of enemy territory, hunted by both the Shroud and their former Lumina allies. As the Horizon Eye streaked through hyperspace, Chen found Nova staring out at the swirling vortex of light, its bioluminescence muted. "Are you okay?" Chen asked softly. Nova turned, its eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and resolve. "I always thought I was bridging two worlds, bringing them together. Now I find I don't fully belong to either. But that doesn't change what we have to do." Chen took Nova's hand, squeezing it gently. "You belong with us, Nova. Not because of what you are, but because of who you've chosen to be. We're family, and we're in this together." Nova's lights brightened slightly, pulsing in a pattern that Chen recognized as gratitude and affection. "Together," it agreed. As they approached the Lumina homeworld, alarms blared to life. A massive fleet of Lumina and Shroud ships moved to intercept them. "This is it," Chen said, strapping herself into the command chair. "Whatever happens, Nova, I want you to know that meeting you was the best thing that ever happened to me. You've not only changed my life, but the course of human history." Nova took its place at the ship's controls, its bioluminescence blazing with determination. "And you, Sarah, showed me what it truly means to be alive. No matter what the Lumina intended, it was humanity that taught me love, courage, and the value of fighting for what's right." As the enemy fleet opened fire, the Horizon Eye plunged toward the planet's surface. Chen and Nova, human and alien, bound by a love that transcended species, prepared to make their final stand. They knew the odds were against them. They knew they might not survive. But they also knew that the fate of Earth, and indeed the entire galaxy, rested on their shoulders. With a shared look of determination, they steered the ship toward their destiny, ready to sacrifice everything for the chance to expose the truth and save the ones they loved. The final battle for the soul of the galaxy had begun. The final stand. The horizon eye is streaked through the Lumina homeworld's atmosphere, a blazing comet of defiance against the vast armada arrayed against it. Inside the ship, Sarah, Chen, and Nova worked in perfect synchronization, their years of trust and shared experiences culminating in this moment of desperate valor. "We're hit," Chen called out as the ship shuddered under enemy fire, shields at 30% and falling. Nova's bioluminescence flared with concentration, its 6 limbs dancing across the ship's controls. "I'm rerouting power from non-essential systems. We just need to hold together long enough to reach the broadcast tower." As they neared their target, the true scale of their challenge became apparent. The broadcast tower, a spiraling structure of living crystal and light, was heavily guarded. Shroud ships swarmed around it like angry insects, while Lumina energy weapons created a deadly web of fire. "There's no way to get close enough," Chen said, her voice tight with frustration. "We need a miracle." Nova's eyes suddenly widened, its lights pulsing with a new intensity. "Or we need a sacrifice. Sarah, do you trust me?" Chen met Nova's gaze, seeing in those alien eyes the same spirit of determination and love that had defined their relationship for decades. "Always," she replied without hesitation. "Then get ready to eject," Nova said, its voice filled with a mix of sorrow and resolve. "I'm going to create a distraction." Before Chen could protest, Nova interfaced directly with the ship's systems. Its bioluminescence spread through the horizon eye's circuitry, merging alien biology with human technology in a way never before seen. The ship suddenly came alive with Nova's essence, moving with an agility that defied its size and damage. It danced through the enemy formation, drawing fire and creating chaos. "Nova, what are you doing?" Chen cried out, realizing with horror what her alien child intended. "What I was always meant to do," Nova's voice echoed through the ship's speakers. "Bridge 2 worlds and protect the ones I love. The ejection pod is ready. You need to go now, get to the tower, and broadcast the truth." Tears streamed down Chen's face as she realized this might be goodbye. "I can't lose you," she whispered. Nova's voice softened, filled with love. "You never will. Everything I am, everything I've become, is because of you and humanity. Now it's time for me to give that gift back to the galaxy." With a wrenching sob, Chen activated the ejection sequence. As her pod shot away from the horizon eye, she watched through tear-blurred eyes as Nova, merged with the ship, flew straight into the heart of the enemy fleet. The resulting explosion was like a new star being born. Nova's bioluminescence, amplified by the ship's engines, created a pulse of pure energy that washed over the battlefield. Shroud ships flickered and failed, their mimicry technology overloaded. Lumina vessels reeled, their biomechanical systems disrupted. In that moment of chaos, Chen's pod slipped through the defenses and landed near the broadcast tower. With grim determination, she fought her way inside, carrying the data that would expose the Lumina's grand deception. As she reached the central chamber, a figure stepped out of the shadows. It was a Lumina elder, its form shimmering with barely contained power. "You've come far, human," the elder said, its voice resonating with ancient authority. "But your journey ends here. The galaxy needs order, structure. Your chaotic species would undo eons of careful planning." Chen stood her ground, her grief for Nova transforming into steely resolve. "You're wrong. It's our chaos that brings innovation, love, and true progress. Nova taught us that diversity is strength, that differences should be celebrated, not controlled or destroyed." "Ah yes, the experiment," the elder mused. "An unfortunate error, It was meant to guide your species into compliance, not encourage your rebellious nature. Nova was no error, Chen shot back. It was the best of both our worlds, and its sacrifice will not be in vain. With that, Chen lunged for the broadcast controls. The Lumina Elder moved to stop her, but was suddenly enveloped in a cocoon of familiar bioluminescence. "Go, Sarah." Nova's voice echoed through the chamber. "I've merged with the tower's systems. I'll hold it off." Not questioning this miraculous intervention, Chen activated the broadcast. Across the galaxy, on every planet, ship and station, the truth was revealed. The Lumina's manipulations, the true nature of the Shroud, and the beauty of diversity and free will were transmitted in a pulse of undeniable clarity. The effect was immediate and profound. Shroud agents, their deceptions exposed, lost their hold on mimicked forms. Populations under Lumina control awakened to the truth of their subjugation, and in that moment of universal enlightenment, the carefully constructed order of the Lumina began to crumble. As the broadcast faded, Chen found herself face to face with the Lumina Elder once more. But now, its form was flickering, destabilized by Nova's energy. "You've doomed us all," the Elder said, its voice fading. "Without our guidance, the galaxy will fall into chaos." Chen stood tall, her voice firm. "No, we've freed the galaxy to find its own path. It may be messy, it may be challenging, but it will be real. And we'll face it together, all species united in our beautiful diversity." As the Elder faded away, the bioluminescence coalesced into a familiar form. Nova stood before Chen, its light dimmer, but unmistakably alive. "Nova," Chen cried, rushing to embrace her alien child. "How?" Nova's lights pulsed weakly. "I've dispersed much of my energy, but my consciousness survived. I'm different now, part of the galactic communication network. I can't stay in this form for long, but I'll always be here, watching over humanity and all the species of the galaxy." Tears of joy and sorrow mingled on Chen's cheeks. "You magnificent being, you've saved us all." Nova's form began to fade, but its voice remained strong. "No, Sarah, we saved each other. Humanity's love gave me purpose, and in return, I gave the galaxy a chance for true freedom. Remember, the light of understanding will always overcome the darkness of fear." As Nova's physical form dissipated, its bioluminescence spread outward, merging with the stars themselves. Chen stood at the top of the tower, watching as ships from Earth and 100 other worlds arrived, no longer as conquerors or subjects, but as equals ready to forge a new galactic community. In the years that followed, the galaxy entered a new age of cooperation and discovery. Earth took its place as a leader in this new order, not through force or manipulation, but through the example of its diversity and adaptability. The story of Nova and humanity's rise became legend, a testament to the power of love, sacrifice, and the strength found in embracing differences. And on clear nights, when the stars shone brightest, people across the galaxy swore they could see patterns of bioluminescence dancing among the celestial lights, a reminder that they were never truly alone, and that the guardian of the stars was always watching over them. Sarah Chen, her hair now white with age, stood on the balcony of her home, gazing up at the night sky. A soft, familiar glow enveloped her, and she smiled. "Hello, old friend," she whispered. The stars twinkled in response, a cosmic wink from a child of two worlds who had become the protector of all. As Chen closed her eyes, feeling Nova's warmth around her, she knew that the greatest adventure of all, the journey of understanding between all sentient beings, was only just beginning. And thanks to the love between a human and an alien child, the galaxy would face that future united, diverse, and free. The end, and a new beginning.